person, but at least we can do this in person.
It's a nice change.
Yes.
Tonight is the first day of the rest of our lives. How will we live in this gift of life? Will we look at one person at a time that we may really see them, each of them? Being seen feels like being elevated to personhood for those who feel less than. Will we find kindness in ourselves for those who look or speak or vote or understand differently than we do? Will we work to crack open our hearts to let love and life in and out into the world? Tonight is the first night of the rest of our lives. Let us pray that we value ourselves enough to value others. Let us find joy in each other despite our pain and fear. Let us be each other's blessings with your help, dear Lord, as you are our blessing. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Klink,
Here.
Councilmember Wright,
Here.
Councilmember Bilderrain,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy. Here. Mayor Mintz.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Closed session announces we have no reportable action from our closed session. And we do have a change in the agenda. We're going to add an award for our MLK Junior Art Award. So that's going to be added to the awards. Okay. So it announces these proceedings will be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream at this meeting ongoing on the city website by clicking Meeting Agendas link. Awards, presentations, announcements, proclamation. Introduction to the newest PAAC member, Chantelle Rodriguez. Is she here? Did I say that right, Chantelle?
So Chantelle, come on.
Okay.
Good evening, council members. My name is Pat Flanagan, and I am the chair of the Public Arts Advisory Committee. And I would like to introduce you to Chantelle Rodriguez. And Chantelle is an art educator. She works as a substitute for the Morongo Unified School District. And she labels herself as an entrepreneur, an art entrepreneur. And one of the reasons that her energy found us. Can you imagine how happy we are to find members who find us and have, you know, good, forceful ideas. So, Chantelle, and come up and say hi to everybody. And here we are. Any questions?
No, I'd just like to, we can welcome and go ahead and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. That'd be great.
Good evening, council members. My name is Chantelle Rodriguez, and as stated before, I am an artist, an entrepreneur, and an art educator advocating for more programming for youth in the arts here in 29 Palms and for San Bernardino County. I look forward to joining as a voting member of the PAAC, and really look forward to the entire process of working with the City Council and the PAAC members to advocate for more public arts facilitation. So thank you all for having me.
Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Manuel, would you like to meet me at the podium, please? So, hi Manuel. This is Manuel Ramirez, and we are giving him a certificate of recognition from the City of Toronto to commend you on the winning the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream art contest. Your video submission titled Overcome demonstrates the impact Martin Luther King Jr. still holds today in this great nation. The city hereby recognizes you on 2021 Martin Luther King I Have a Dream art contest winner and the extraordinary work demonstrating the importance of diversity and equality in all our residents, visitors in our nation. Good job, man. We got to do this, sorry. Congratulations. You want to say a few words, and then we're going to show your video.
Oh, just thank you. I'm honored, surprised, and put a lot of thought in the video, and just I was hoping some people watch and cry, honestly. And
We shall overcome because the Bible is right. You shall reap what you sow. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. And with this faith, we will go out and adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. And we will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so. And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land.
There it goes. And thank you guys, I appreciate it. Have a good one. Hopefully I'll see you some more.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Thank you very much. Okay, council comments, reports, and meetings attended. Councilmember Klink.
We had the shortest ever SBCTA meeting on Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. I think it lasted maybe 15 minutes when normally it lasts about 3 hours. So not much was discussed on that one. I think the policy committee had January off, so they weren't able to bring anything to us. I'd like to wish everybody celebrating a birthday in February, especially here in 29 Palms. I wish you all a happy birthday, and especially to my son, Andrew, who doesn't get to celebrate his birthday this year again. He's born February 29th, so happy birthday, Andrew. Hope you have a great birthday. That's it.
All right. Councilmember Bellarine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had no meetings besides the strategic planning that we did the Friday and Saturday. That's all I got. Thank you.
Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did MBTA, and we decided that we was going to start having our meetings split between Yucca Valley and 29 because the MBTA is not big enough for us to social distance. So I think that's a good thing. And then I want to congratulate Chantelle and Emmanuel. Great job, both of you guys. And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Kobili.
Yes, I did not attend any meetings this time around, but I do want to note that I will be helping pack boxes for the giveaway through Morongo Basin. And so that will be this Friday in Yucca Valley and in 29 Palms. And welcome to the young lady, to the Arts Board. And thank you, young man, for that great presentation. You captured a lot of the struggle that went on and that still goes on today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And also, welcome Chantelle, and congratulations, Mr. Ramirez, on your contest. I also attended from my house, the MBTA meeting, and like Councilman Wright said, it was pretty much an agreement on the board to start meeting in person. That way it gives the chance for some folks to come to the actual meeting that are riders or whoever would like to come to the meetings will be able to do it in person. So we are going to be doing it back and forth between 29 Palms and Yucca Valley until the restrictions are lifted. Also, obviously, we attended the strategic planning Friday and Saturday. We got a lot done out of that, and that's still on the web, right? What we did is it's on YouTube. Yeah. So if someone missed it or wants to see it, you can go back to that and watch what we did. And if you have any questions, please either email us or just let us know. Okay, consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar to be considered routine by the City Council in the capacity as assessor agency for the former 29 Palms Redevelopment Agency and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed.
Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the city council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items prior to the city council action. Does anybody from the council want to pull any items? Seeing none. Anybody from the public? Anybody call in? Cindy or text? Okay. Okay. I'm
move
looking
the
for a
consent
motion.
calendar.
Okay, we have a motion, to accept the consent calendar,
Second.
and a second. Okay, any other discussion? I'm abstaining from item number 8, which has to do with Project Phoenix site improvements. Okay. Cindy, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderrain,
Aye.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
Aye, except I abstain again from item number 8.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. Items removed from the consent calendar for discussion, none. Public hearing, none. Discussion for potential action items. I will be excusing myself to the Mayor Pro Tem for items number 9 and 10.
Okay. Project Phoenix Wastewater System Service Contract. I will turn this over to Frank.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. The item in front of you this evening, staff has a recommendation to approve a contract for Project Phoenix wastewater operations and maintenance with the County of San Bernardino Special Districts, County Service Area 70, CSA 70, in the amount of $63,970.08. Also to authorize the city manager to execute all documents necessary to enter into the contract, including any necessary amendments thereto. Just by way of a little background, so within Project Phoenix, as we all know, Project Phoenix is under construction currently. And as part of the project, we have a Paseo in the back end of each of the businesses. Back in January of, oh gosh, the year's kind of running together. We're in 2021. So January of 2020, we put the sewer lines in Project Phoenix. That was phase 1 of the project. And now with the Paseo going in, we have to connect the businesses to the sewer system because we don't want to put the Paseo in, then have to tear up the Paseo later to connect the businesses. So we have to do it in now. So with that, there will be effluent, coming from their sewage systems of the businesses into our sewer pipes. And with that, we need to maintain those. So this will be the first step into the sewer business. And the city staff, we don't have the equipment nor the certifications to maintain those sewers. So we put this out for bid. And the County of San Bernardino, within their special districts, have many different services, one of which is sewer operations. So they gave us a very competitive bid, which is why we're in front of you this evening looking for consideration. As part of their proposal, 63,970 is inclusive of emergency services. Those emergency services probably won't be needed. However, they have to put them within the contract. As the city in a sewer system, and it's a brand new system, and so I don't anticipate this, but we have to plan for it. If there was ever any sewage spill, any emergency on the middle of the night, early in the morning, weekends, whenever it may be, we have to have some funds authorized to be able to dispatch them to go fix whatever issue. So inclusive of that 63,000 is that 15,000. Probably won't be needed. Again, brand new system. Nonetheless, we have to account for it. One other thing, and I think it's attached here, not as it relates to the recommendation, but something I want to bring up in relationship to the sewer system. So as the council is aware, we have the public hearing, next meeting, February 23rd, for the sewer rates, okay? Because again, the businesses will be connecting into the sewer system. And with that, the general fund should not be, paying for the service. In theory, the ratepayers, just like a water district, just like an electric company, just like a gas company, the ratepayers should be paying for the service. However, in this current circumstance, and I'll address the budget in a second, the budget of Project Phoenix, capital budget of Project Phoenix is looking pretty good. You know, things, because of the lower costs that have come in, the budget is looking pretty good. And in relationship to our strategic planning that I heard, council looking for potentially some COVID relief. This may be one of those opportunities that we provide COVID relief, which is have the Project Phoenix capital dollars prepay for whatever time the council so chooses, 6 months, 1 year, whatever it may be, so it'll be covered by Project Phoenix funds. The ratepayers wouldn't be charged on a monthly basis until that period of prepaid is over, whatever you so choose. Still want to do the public hearing February 23rd to approve the rates. But if the council wants to use project funds to pay for this, rates would be approved and we wouldn't bill the customers for whatever specified period. So just looking for some direction on that. It's not, you know, part of the recommendation tonight. Staff will bring that forward. Tonight, what's in front of you is the contract for maintenance of it, but also wanted to get some direction on the other issue that I brought up secondarily. Attached in the staff report is the Project Phoenix budget. And as you can see, and this is a remaining budget of funds that we have, might be a little eye test there, kind of small. But nonetheless, the resources that we have versus the remaining tasks that we have in front of us, we have the resources for both of those, okay? And that includes that $63,000 that I just mentioned. On top of that, we still are carrying a 10% contingency, which is $1.2 million. And again, we have the bids in for the site improvements, they're in, the bids are in. We have the bids in for the building, they're in. We're still carrying a 10% contingency over and above that. So as long as there's no major changes or things that kind of come up in the project, in theory, that 1.2 million, hopefully most of it, if not all of it, will still be remaining at the end of the project for augmentations of the project or other directions by the council. So in summary, the budget is looking good, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Did we get any questions? Cindy?
No.
So then I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve a contract for Project Phoenix wastewater system operations and maintenance with the County of San Marino Special Districts Department County Service Area in the amount of $63,970.06, and authorize the city manager to execute all documents necessary to enter into the contract, including any necessary amendments thereto.
8 cents.
Was it 8? Oh, it is 8. Yep.
That's second.
And the second one would be direction on the other, if, you know, it's not part of the motion, but some
Oh.
direction on the other if council wants to prepay that operating expense out of Project Phoenix funds to, you know, offset some of the customer costs.
I say we prepay for 6 months, and if we're still in this environment, then we just revisit it and go the other 6 months.
Second.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Or
So
is
staff
that,
got
is that
direction.
part of the motion?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
part of the guidance?
Well, you don't need it part of the motion, because I'll bring
Oh,
that back.
okay.
I'll bring it back, but I just wanted to get some direction, and I think I've got at
Okay.
least 3, probably 4 on direction. And Madam Mayor Pro Tem, we did ask for public comment. There was no public comment? Is that right? Okay.
Anybody here? Nobody here? Wanted to say? Okay.
So I think
Okay.
there was a motion in a second.
I made the motion on number 1. Approve a contract for the wastewater treatment system.
Councilmember Bildering,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz abstains. Approved 401.
Okay, and then next we have facilities names. Carrie.
Good evening, council members. As you all know, construction of the building locating at the Project Phoenix site is due to begin soon. So staff has been asked to come up with a proper name for the building. So after back and forth discussions, it was determined that the logical choice for the name of the new building would be the 29 Palms Community Center. This will make it easy to locate for locals and visitors. The issue with the name that we came up with is it shares the word community with the existing building that we have near Lucky Park. So if the council decides to agree on the name, we would like to change the name of the existing building located near Lucky Park to avoid any confusion to the public. It was decided that the Community Services Building could be renamed, excuse me, the Lucky Park Activity Center, which best describes the type of facility and its proximity to Lucky Park. We're asking the council to provide direction for deciding an official name for the new building, which will allow staff to start the design plans for the signage and possibly changing the name of the existing building located near Lucky Park. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And just to add on it, on the screen, you can see, so that will be the monument sign that will be right on the corner property there of Yucca and 62, kind of describing it. So as Ms. Minitry mentioned, the community center in 29 Palms, and then Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree National Park, that name is tweaked a bit, actually, since the printing of this. So it'll be Joshua Tree National Park Cultural Center. It's Joshua Tree National Park Cultural Center.
And any questions from the public? I don't see any questions from the audience.
I personally like what you have chosen. I think you should just leave it the way it is, Lucky Park Activity Center and 20 Palms Community Center.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Second.
Is that the motion?
Yeah,
That was your
I
motion?
guess,
Okay.
yes.
So just adding comment, all right. Yes.
Were you going to come?
No, I'm waiting for the motion. Very good.
Roll call. Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderring,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz abstain. Approved 401.
Frank, we're gonna get that Lucky Activity Center started sooner, so we get used to it.
Well, yeah, actually tomorrow. Yes.
Well,
It's approved, it's tomorrow.
I don't want to change at the same time, like, I'm still confused.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Item 11, designation of a delegate and alternate delegate for the Southern California Association of Governments, SCAG, Annual General Assembly.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. It's that time of year again, what? Oh. It's that time of year again where we have to select a delegate and alternate delegate for the Southern California Association of Governments Annual General Assembly. This is due to be on May 6th, which is a Thursday, and it's only going to be a 1 day versus 2 days like it has been in the past. It will be virtual, via Zoom meeting, and it'll begin at 11 a.m. So at this point, I'm looking for volunteers or nominations on who would like to be a delegate and alternate. Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy, alternate. And
Do you want to do the alternate? Do you want,
Delegate, I'm sorry.
do you want to do the actual meeting?
I can do the actual meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be the alternate.
Steve, you know, okay, there we go.
All in favor?
Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you. Okay, financial report, mid-year of 2021 fiscal year for special funds.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So staff is looking for the council just to review and accept the financial report for the second quarter of 2021 fiscal year and give direction on potentially funding projects that previously did not have appropriated funds. So just by way of background, back in the Thanksgiving month, can't remember what date that council meeting was, but we brought forward to the council our general fund for review. As the council will recall, back in when we were in the midst of COVID, we didn't know how things were going to work out. So we became aggressive in some of the reactions during the COVID from a financial perspective, and then revisited it in November this past year. And what we realized when we brought to the council is that in the current year, because of the actions we took, we were going to show a surplus in the year that we're in of approximately $500,000, $500,000. So fast forward now, we're at a time to review our special funds. And typically, on a non-COVID year, we would be doing both general fund and special funds at the same time. But since we did that in November, we're only going to look at the special funds right now. So what special funds are, hence the word special, are funds established either by the council or other agencies to collect money that must be used for a very specific purpose and very specific task. Special funds have an extra level of accountability and transparency to taxpayers and or ratepayers that their tax or fee dollars will go to a very specific and intended purpose. So general fund is our general services, but specific is hence the word specific. So we reviewed this and when we're on track on all the operational special funds, the big piece within our special funds is our capital projects. And our capital projects, we have appropriated about $3.7 million this year in our special funds. However, 2.4 of that is earmarked for Project Phoenix. The city has completed in this fiscal year a few tasks already. Lucky and Knott's, those shade structures, from the COVID money, so those are done and complete. The community development software, although paid for and complete through COVID money, we're still going through that implementation process. However, the code enforcement outward-facing link is there, and we're starting to get a lot of activity from that, so people don't have to call or email, or there's a process now to be able to do it electronically, which was the goal of that. Continually, we're going to be continuing to roll out those pieces for building inspection, business licenses, planning cases, et cetera, to be able to do all online in light of a good operation, but also too in COVID. Grease trap installation of Project Phoenix, again, another COVID-related issue. We were able to get some of those funds that we completed to those 4 restaurants in Project Phoenix to install those grease traps. So that is complete as well. Then finally completed is that sidewalk project on State Route 62 from Encilia to Larea. So that all of those are complete. In the past year, what we had approved in the budget, well, we did a 2-year budget. So the fiscal year ended in 20, and then the fiscal year ended in 22 that we're currently in. And when we originally approved the budget, we didn't have much in the second year budget. We had Project Phoenix, but we had some well repair, which is money we put aside for the inevitable well breakdown. Lucky Park lights, or not lights, the poles in Lucky Park, the wood poles. Several years ago, we did a evaluation of all the poles, and I think there was hopefully some A's, A through F, and we replaced all the F's, and now so we're working on others. So we're continuing to put money on to work towards that. Other equipment replacement, and as mentioned, Project Phoenix. From there, we augmented some capital projects through other surpluses that we had through that time. And some of the projects, as mentioned, and I'll run down them pretty quickly. Shade structures that we mentioned, complete. The Theater 29 Pioneer Park, the Prop 68 application, that one is just about complete. We're ready to submit that to the state of California for hopefully that grant. The Split Rock Bridge, that is with Caltrans right now, waiting for the next approval to finish the design, so ultimately we can go out for funding to construct it. Our downtown specific plan, that is that grant that we received, and plus general fund monies to complete both of the, put the 150 together with the grant, and the 150 with the city, 300,000 does the downtown specific plan. The animal control quarantine building, this one is council augmented funds on this. The goal when we retracted from the quarantine building was actually to stabilize the current animal control building, an old steel building that is lots of holes in it where the critters are getting into. So we're working to seal up that building. Just normal street overlay chip seal, community development software as mentioned, Lucky Park lights, all the city roofs. So all of city roofs that have leaks, I know Ms. Minitree has a roof or two, I think, in her area that are leaky. Fortunately, with Project Phoenix, one of the trades is a roofer, so we're going to reach out to them as well. We've had a tough time in the past of trying to get contractors to do these roofs in the midst of a very competitive market. So now with Project Phoenix, we're hoping to be able to piggyback off of that. Grease traps is mentioned in Celia, and also the neighborhood safety project. So as mentioned, we have about $500,000, $500,000 of unallocated dollars that are out there. And I want to mention too, another one of our special funds is our curb, gutter, and sidewalk money. That's that $77 a linear foot, maximum at $12,000. That fund has accumulated about $500,000 as well. So there's $500,000 in surplus, regular general fund surplus, and about $500,000 of that curb, gutter, and sidewalk fee. In reviewing, and this is why it's a good process to go through a review of projects that potentially could be funded. I want to point out the first two. First two actually fell through the cracks on the city side of not getting the complete funding of. When we defunded a lot of projects last past year, the top two were defunded, and they shouldn't be. That was a mistake by myself. So that's a little over $200,000 that does need funded, and they both have started. So again, that downtown specific plan is that 150 from the grant, 150 from the city, that 300,000 to do that. And that ADA playground equipment, we got a grant for that, and that's the city match of that. So that's about a little over 200,000, 210, let's say. So that leaves, a little under $300,000 for those other projects as we've heard about before. But over and above that 300,000 is mentioned, there's that curb, gutter, and sidewalk fee. And the only thing that could apply to is the Sullivan bike path, because that would be widening of the Sullivan, and that complies with that funding source. So at this point, we'd like to turn it over to staff to get to council to get any direction on how you want to proceed, if at all.
So what we're really talking about then on the 500,000 surplus is basically, I rounded it up, the 59.95 to 60,000 is $290,000. So that's on the surplus. We have 290,000 in the curb and gutter. The only two projects on here we could even spend the money on is Sullivan Bike Path, because you said we had a grant for Amboy, or we didn't?
So we've applied for a grant. We haven't received it yet, ATP grant, which is active transportation. So we should know by the summertime if we get that or not. So,
And what about the ELSO and curb and gutter? Cutter instead of gutter?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a G. It should be a G.
Yeah, I know, I'm just.
A little curve there. So that is part of the grants that we applied for Prop 68. It's due in March, so we'll be applying for both Not Sky Park and the Pioneer Park in March. We're hoping to get a result back by the summertime to tell us if we're successful or not. So we could bring that back in summertime to see if that does happen or not.
Okay, so I guess for a discussion tonight then, we just have decided, obviously if we waited just till the summer, we would know if we're gonna get those two paid for, and then.
And Mr. Mayor, one thing I failed to mention, just kind of going back to the staff report, and I just put it out there just for information for you. Our surplus right now, what we're at, is about $5.7 million, undesignated reserve. And what undesignated means is, hence the word, it's not designated for anything, it's non-restricted. So that's about 61% of our general fund. So that obviously is out there as well.
Thank you. Well, obviously, when we discussed this at the strategic plan, we put it on the board, the Lucky Park pool, and we did talk about if we had to, but we don't even know what the figure of that is, so we can't even really.
That's just an earmark.
That's just an earmark.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, the first two are going to be funded, or should have been funded, so we have 290. Now, the Sullivan Bike Path, isn't that road designated to be sealed or worked on by?
It is, so one of the things, if the council does choose to, you know, what I would recommend is to use the curb gutter and sidewalk money for that. Mr. Stacy, you know, when he and his crew do their overlay, we'll kind of coordinate those two things together. So not only do the widening of it, but also the overlay of it, so it looks like a complete road. And it would be if the council so chooses to go down that path to comply with the funding source, it would be a Class 2 bike path. Class 2 bike path, what that is part of the road, right? So Class 1 is a separate lane, so detached from the road. A Class 2, though, is part of the road, just kind of sectioned off. And so that curb gutter and sidewalk money would comply with that widening of the road for a Class 2.
Okay, well, anybody have any thoughts, Mac?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it apply to Elso if that's curb and gutter?
So, so that is on, it's on a public side. So if you look at the ordinance of the curb gutter and sidewalk money, it says it's commercial or residential. That's on public, so that's our public park. So the money was not intended, you know, for that. So who pays into that, or the individuals in the community that, you know, build a house to pay to do that? So the money doesn't apply to public facilities, and so not Sky Park, where that curb and gutter would be, is on the public side.
So my question, oh, do you have another one?
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
And, so then we don't have to count Sullivan in the 200, whatever we got left, right?
We don't have to count the 290. If we want to use curb and gutter, obviously, if we got a project that we had to use the curb and gutter money, we just have to replace it, but that would be a good place to use it, because Sullivan needs to be fixed and it needs to be widened, and that would be a great way to widen it, so.
So we still got the 200 and something that.
We still have 290 left on for other items, yes.
Well, I'm going to be the downer on this, because curb and gutter to me means curb and gutter, sidewalk, a curb and a gutter. And the big reason we had that curb and gutter was to put curb and gutter and asphalt where flooding does occur a lot. And it just doesn't seem like that's where that's going. And now we're going to take it, and I want to see Sullivan with the bike path widened, but we'll use the 290. I just don't see putting that Sullivan bike path with that money, because is that going to get flooded? Do we know if it's going to get flooded? We don't know.
Yeah, and it's the same issue that currently is, because, you know, water water eats asphalt, right? And so there's no edge there, and over time, it's going to do the same thing. It'll eat at it.
So we're using curb and gutter funds to put nice curb and gutters in front of houses that really need to have it to help with the flooding that they get. I don't see that.
I would agree with the curb and gutter over the bike path.
So there's some commercial there that has curb and gutter now, there on Sullivan, and there's the theaters there. They have curb and gutter. I don't know how there. I know there's, and then further down to where you turn on the to go to the city yard. I think it always goes down to there. But what do we have? We don't have any kind of clue what it would cost us to finish that whole road on that side.
Correct. I mean, one of the things that to comply with both comments about the curb and gutter. I mean, this is just a placeholder, not an earmark I mentioned earlier. It's a placeholder, as Lucky Park is just a placeholder, and so is Sullivan. I mean, we can go and look at it and do some more work on it to see if, to your point, I guess, of extending that curb and gutter, you know, from, if it is on Theater 29, you know, down to some point anyway, and also extending the road. So maybe with those funds, we could both widen and put the curb and gutter there, potentially. So if that's the direction, we could work on it and still bring it back to the council after we do more study on that.
Would that make you more comfortable?
I don't mind the Sullivan bike path, you know, getting it going, but it's just that this curb and gutter is for flooding. And that's what the big main reason why we had that. But we could use that $500,000 on curb and gutter in a block somewhere that you do the whole block, and you know, I can tell you right now where I would use it is Chia and Gorgonio, because they get flooded all the time over there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things staff, you know, accumulating this money, we're up to 500,000, we need to put it to work.
Right,
So-
well, yeah, that's,
So if it's not this, what staff can do is come back and do an analysis, talk to engineering about where the best place for a curb and gutter would be, and that may be the location that you mentioned.
so if we did, say if we did out of the 290 we allocated to widen it, even though we did that, later on, if we decide to put the curb and gutter in, that would just match up to it. We wouldn't be wasting money by putting in the bike path and widening the road by putting the bike path, and then if later on, and then we put the curb and gutter in later.
I don't believe so. I'll talk to engineering and coming back to the council, but I think that would be acceptable. Putting the road in, widening it, then coming back later and putting the curb and gutter, right?
Mhm.
I don't think that would be an issue, but I'll talk to engineering and double back with the council on that.
I mean, that's just a thought. I just don't want to, kind of like hooking up the sewers, I don't want to have to dig them up again to hook up, you know, after we put them in, so. Okay. Steve, did you have any comments? No comments? Okay. Well, obviously, the also, I'd prefer we wait till we see if we get the grant and the Amboy bike path. If they don't, then we can obviously do that in the budget, next budget. And I'd like to see us get started on Sullivan though, because or we can just leave the 290 there and decide in a few months after we hear from staff recommendations.
Yeah, so I would like to see us just take the 290 then and put it for the pool. Because when we discussed it in the strategic planning, we said we needed that.
Mhm.
And then because we can wait on the grants for the Amboy and El Sol, and then get the study to see where we need the curb and gutter first.
Mhm.
Have you driven Sullivan when there's a bike or a person walking on it? Not much room.
See, yeah,
Well, that's just-
I would like to
that's the
see us
same as
put,
Mesquite.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, see, I'd like to see us get Sullivan started, because we kind of already talked about the pool that we were going to designate some monies to it, and we don't even know, A, what it's going to cost, and two, I mean, this, at least we know we can get started on Sullivan, and it could be done in a few months, where the pool, we won't even have any kind of staff report for, what, a month, maybe longer?
Yeah, and again, that's just a placeholder. We think it's gonna be plus or minus that. You know, the big unknown is the excavation of the pool, in the pool. So,
Yeah. Carrie, do you have any updates on that?
We don't have any updates currently. As Frank mentioned, excavation, we don't know what we're getting into until we actually get into it.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it'll be a month, 2 months before we have any information.
Even find out.
Yeah.
But Sullivan, we could actually get started on, if we fund it.
and you know, and what staff is gonna be planning on doing is, you know, replacing like for like. So if that is what the councilor's desire is, you're talking about Lucky Park pool. So,
Yeah.
like for like.
Yeah.
So,
But we're talking about replacing the pool and putting in a whole new filter system in, correct, and piping, right?
Yeah, and to make sure it's, you know, well, there's some compliance issues currently, so it'll be a new system there that is automated. I mean, we're wasting, you know, time and energy on duct tape and bailey wire, and also, you know, maintaining it as well compared to computers. We're manually doing a lot of things, so yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot, you know.
Well, I just don't want to shortchange this, so we spend 300,000, and we should have spent the 500,000 to do the whole job right, and then we're not looking at 2 years from now we got to do something else, so.
Yeah, no more duct tape and bailey wire.
Okay.
No, I was talking about adding it to the 500. Well, not adding it, but like subtracting the 290 from the 500, but still keep the 500. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because we could, first two are funded, and then we use the rest of the money to fund the Sullivan, we're still going to have a few dollars left over. I mean, if something else comes up where it's $40,000, because we don't even know if that's the exact figure, right? That's the high figure that you're figuring, the 250
The 250.
for the Sullivan.
Oh, Sullivan, yeah, that was a number that, I think Mr. Purdue, when he was here, came up with that number, again, placeholder. Once we get it funded and we get into the engineering and, that'll true up a bit, but we think
Okay.
we're pretty close to that number.
Okay.
And one thing, just to mention, we budget very conservatively, so chances are, at the end of the year, it's gonna be more than 500,000. So we'll revisit it again at that point, to maybe fund more or what have you, so.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion from council?
Yeah, that's the same as Mesquite Spring. So,
Hmm.
we want to see that on there again.
Well, if
I have to agree, because that's another one that's
Well-
not, doesn't have very much room.
well, then we can direct staff tonight to get us a figure, give it, what it would cost us to put the Class 2 on Mesquite. Because you remember, we can only put it on one side, because the county owns the other side. So it can only be on the east side of the road, so.
Yeah, so there we would have, the first step of that one would be acquiring some right-of-way on it, because we'd have to widen the road for probably a Class 2. And I don't know how many feet we typically have our bike
30.
paths, but
I gave up 30 for my yard.
you already did?
Yeah.
So a lot of times what happens, when development happens, and, Councilmember Wright just mentioned it, when you build your house, you give up the land for the right-of-way. So your house may have it, but all those undeveloped lots probably didn't give anything up yet,
Right.
so we still, because they haven't developed anything yet, so we would have to acquire all that to be able to acquire.
So
acquire.
how about if we just at least get a construction cost, or estimate, so that we can at least start having a serious discussion about it? Okay, any other comments from the council at this time? Okay, I want to open up to the public. Anybody from the public want to speak on this? Capital projects not funded? Cindy, do we have any email? Anybody call in over there, Christina? Okay. Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Any other discussion? Does anybody want to make a motion?
Do we, this has to be, well, yeah, it would be because of money. I make a motion that we use $250,000 for the Sullivan Bike Path. And we'll wait on the Amboy and El Sol and Lucky Park Pool for
Till we
further,
find-
for further discussion.
In addition to the downtown specific plan and the ADA
Yes.
as well, right?
Yep.
So 250 and 210, so 460?
Yes.
And we
Yes.
leave like 40 left.
$40,000.
Mm-hmm.
But we're hoping our surplus is even more than if there's something else comes up. But, obviously, we could use that for
Your survey.
the pool or whatever. So I have a motion to fund the downtown specific plan match, ADA playground equipment, and the Sullivan Bike Path out of the $500,000.
Second.
And we have a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none? Cindy?
So
Wait,
just
right.
a question to, so as it relates to the curb gutter and sidewalk, so staff will come back and try to, because we want to put that money to work. And, we're the best place within the city to expand that curb and gutter and sidewalks. We'll bring that forward as well.
Yeah, if you talk to the engineering and Public Works and find out where our bad place, because you're right, we did that with, actually, it turned out better for us, because we had over $1 million in the special fund from SCE that the city accumulated from the citizens, and it actually went to work on Project Phoenix to underground all the electrical, but, there's no reason why we can't put this to work too, so.
And
Okay.
ain't it a possibility we could do more than one?
Areas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's, from, I think the latest number that we got is about we're collecting $77 a linear foot, but actually installing it right now is over $200 a linear foot. So,
Wow.
yeah, so there will be, definitely we could do in more areas, but that's what the cost is, about a little over $200 a linear foot, so.
Okay. Okay, I do have a motion and a second, and any other discussion? Seeing none, Cindy, roll call, please.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderine,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy.
Aye.
choose not.
I'm gonna take my eye back.
No, okay.
No.
Mayor Mitz.
Aye.
So approved 4-1-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, future council initiated items. Anybody have an item they'd like to put on the future?
I think Councilmember Wright and I have to get together for Yucca Avenue. Or are we going to open that up again?
We're the subcommittee, so you guys.
I think we need to open it up now again and get some more.
Yeah, because there's Yucca Avenue and the project name, which we kind of parked it, but we're getting
Right.
close. We're getting close.
Okay.
So, well, do you want to do, you want to wait till like March to do that, to give yourself a little bit of time to?
Actually, maybe have staff send out a report asking for names of streets and what we should name Project Phoenix.
Also, to redo that again, so.
Yeah, I think we need to redo it.
Okay.
And then if it's gonna be a monetary prize, whoever we pick, because we will not know who the names or the streets come from. I think we had it as a contest, didn't we?
Yep.
Okay. So the staff has direction on that, just to, okay. Okay, anybody else? No? Okay. Okay, public comments. This is the time for the public to address city council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to city council and shall not be consistent with any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. This is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out a name and address slips and give it to the city clerk. City council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included in our printed agenda. Public comments on our specific items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. Okay, anybody from the public like to speak? Seeing none. Anybody call or text? Nope. Okay. Okay. Okay, city manager update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I guess one question on the future agenda item, the cannabis, we brought it up in strategic planning, and it didn't seem like there was, willingness to move forward with that. Do you still want to keep it as a future agenda item, or would you like it to be removed?
I'm okay for it to be removed.
Me too.
I think eventually we're gonna have to deal with it.
So keep it, it's a future agenda item, so I'll keep it there since there's, I guess, not clear consensus on it.
I would keep it there because it's gonna come up again, I'm pretty sure.
Just a couple things from manager's report, and I'll be brief. So we met with our lobbyists today, and as it relates to COVID relief package in the federal government, they're working through the process of reconciliation between both House and Senate on a package. That package does, though, at least currently include, I think it's 350, you always want to say $1 million because that's more, but it's actually $1 billion because it's all states and cities around the country. The only problem with that is there's no rules to the game. So although it sounds great that it potentially there could be $350 million for states and cities, as we saw when that last one, or the first one I think it was, all cities under 500,000 didn't get any money, right? So again, no rules to it. So it does sound great, but until the final legislation comes out and the interpretation of how it gets displayed or dispersed, we won't know, or we don't know, at least currently. As mentioned, Project Phoenix, as everybody is seeing, is underway, and lots of activity down there. Each week, I probably spent a week just kind of going up and down the street talking to the businesses there, and a lot of good feedback. We're trying to, and I apologize in advance to the council, to the community, to the businesses down there. It is a disruption. There is a silver lining at the end of the tunnel. and the city is. So please, council members, public, if you do have something, just contact me. The contractor has been very accommodating, working with the businesses down there and trying to figure it out. I know the trash cans get moved around, or the dumpsters get moved around, and that's been somewhat of a challenge, but we're here to serve the public. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anybody questions for the city manager?
I
Okay.
can go on.
All right, seeing none, we are adjourned.